She cheated and left me for my best friend. She had no idea I was secretly making $500, $0 a year. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video, using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. I remember the exact moment my wife decided to cheat on me and walk out with my best friend Jason. She had no idea I was secretly earning $500,000 a year. It's funny, I can still see her sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. I had just come home from work, ready to kick back and unwind when she looked up and casually said, "I want a divorce." No warning, no gentle lead-in, just a blunt statement that hit me like a punch to the gut, as if she was commenting on the weather. I froze for a second, trying to process if I'd heard her right. "Excuse me," I asked, my voice steady, even though a storm was brewing inside. She repeated, "I want a divorce," this time with a tone that suggested I was too slow to get it the first time. I should have been angry, maybe even devastated, but instead I was taken aback by her sheer audacity. She crossed her arms and continued, "Given everything we've been through, I can't keep living like this. I need someone who actually works, who contributes. This isn't the life I signed up for." I blinked, feeling absurd. I don't work. I wanted to laugh. For years, I'd built my career from scratch, earning a six-figure salary and laying the foundation for a future most people only dream about. But she never once asked about my work, never showed the slightest curiosity about how I earned that money. I guess she thought I was just barely getting by, coasting on the edge of poverty. Leaning against the counter, I studied her, so confident, so sure she was making the right choice. "All right," I said simply, placing my bag down. She lifted her head, surprised at my calmness. "All right," I repeated. "Yes, if you want a divorce, I won't stop you." For a fleeting moment, I saw something flicker across her face, maybe hesitation, but she quickly replaced it with her smug smile. "Good," she said, "because I've already spoken to a lawyer. You'll need to move out by the end of the month, out of my house." Her nerve was almost amusing, but I didn't argue. If she wanted me gone, I'd leave for now. "Fair enough," I said, turning to walk upstairs. I could feel her eyes on me, waiting for me to lose my composure, maybe plead with her, but I gave her nothing. Sitting on the edge of our bed, I let it sink in. This wasn't just about divorce. It was about power. Wanted to feel in control, to portray me as the failure in our marriage, maybe even guilt-trip me into fighting for her. But they didn't know me as well as they thought. The following days were in her passive-aggressive tactics. Suddenly had lots to say about everything: how I folded laundry, how I spent my evenings, criticizing my hobbies, my habits, even how I brewed my coffee. It was as if she was trying to justify her decision by turning me into the villain. Then there was Jason, my so-called best friend, who she kept bringing up at every turn. She'd say, "Jason said this," or "Jason suggested that." At first, I didn't make much of it. He was a close friend after all, or so I thought. But it soon became obvious, more than just a friend, I realized. I didn't confront her yet. I wasn't ready to give away my hand. Instead, I let her believe she was in control, that I was the clueless husband blind to what was happening right under my nose. One evening, as I packed a suitcase with a few essentials, leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, a smug grin on her face. "So, have you figured out where you're going to stay?" she asked, her tone dripping with condescension. I zipped up my bag and turned to face her. "Don't worry about me. I'll be just fine," I said. She huffed, clearly annoyed by my cool demeanor. "Good," she said, "because Jason and I are planning a dinner party here next weekend. It'd be awkward if you're still hanging around a dinner party with my best friend right here in my house." The audacity almost flummoxed me. I shrugged. "Don't worry," I told her, shouldering my bag. "I'll be gone long before then." As I walked past her, I caught a glimpse of her smug smile. She thought she'd won, thought I was slipping away in defeat. But what didn't realize was that she just handed me the match, the fuse I'd been waiting to light. If she wanted to burn everything down, I'd let her. And then I'd watch the flames consume her and Jason both. Sometimes the best revenge isn't shouting or fighting, it's silence, patience, letting someone dig their own grave while you quietly prepare to bury them. And trust me, I was just getting started. Betrayal, It's a sneaky thing. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It sneaks in gently, disguised as casual chats and seemingly harmless gestures. Until one day you realize what you thought was solid, it's crumbling piece by piece. His request for a divorce was the first crack. What followed was the steady unraveling. Of everything I thought I knew about her, about Jason, my best friend. Yeah, Jason. The one I'd trusted for years. I should seen it coming, but hindsight's a brutal ally. At first it was subtle, started mentioning Jason's name more often, casually saying, "Jason said this," or "Jason suggested that." I'd nod, not thinking much of it. He was a close friend after all. But the weeks went by and his name slipped into our conversations more and more, with a warmth that made my stomach twist. The first clear red flag. Saturday afternoon, after return from one of her lunches with Jason. She was laughing, cheeks flushed, a spark I hadn't seen in years. When I asked what was so funny, she waved me off with a dismissive, "Oh, it's just something Jason said. You wouldn't get it." That's when I started to realize I'd been observing the signs for a while. Texts that she quickly locked after seeing my glance, her dressing up more whenever she had plans with Jason, the vague excuses about just friends or me, overthinking. Overthinking, that's the favorite word of every guilty person, isn't it? I didn't confront her because what would be the point? She'd deny, spin the story, paint me as the paranoid husband. So I let her think I was blind, too busy with my own life to notice her slipping away. Until one day, the real blow came. Jason showed up at my house uninvited. I was in the middle of packing, trying to get my life into a few suitcases, when I heard the doorbell. Opening it, I found Jason with that cocky grin, strolling in like we were still best friends. "My man," he said, like we had no issue. I looked at him, patience wearing thin. "What do you want, Jason?" I asked, voice even. He leaned against the wall, all charm. "Just checking in, man. Told me you're moving out, so I thought I'd offer some help." He was basically saying he was moving in right under my nose. I cut him off. "I've got this handled," I said curtly, turning back to my packing. He hung around a bit too long, and I could see the gears turning in his head. He wasn't just here to check in. Clearly, he was there to rub it in, stake his claim. "Listen," he said, trying to sound sincere, "I know this is tough for you, but things happen, you know. Life gets unpredictable." I took a step closer, forcing him to look me in the eye. "Yeah, Jason, things happen and sometimes they bite back," I told him coldly. For the first time, his smug confidence flickered. The smirk, it faltered. No longer that cocky grin, just a hint of uncertainty. I didn't wait for him to recover. I turned my back on him, focused on my suitcase. He slipped away awkwardly, muttering something about needing to get back to work, but I knew what that was. He was struggling with his own mess. His face told me everything. He wasn't the confident guy I once knew. His perfect life, it was falling apart faster than he or she imagined. Weeks passed. Messages came more often, initially vague, just "hope you're doing well" or "checked in." But I knew her game. She was testing the waters, trying to see if I'd help her, if I still cared. I mostly ignored her. When I did reply, it was short, polite, no room for manipulation. Then her messages grew direct. "I know we've had our differences, but I really need a friend right now," she'd say. The irony, she discarded me to chase something seemingly better, and now she was clutching at straws. I didn't reply. I didn't owe her anything. Soon, the real disaster struck. Jason and's perfect little life, it crumbled. I got a call from a neighbor one evening. She said, barely holding back her laughter, "You won't believe it, and Jason are in serious trouble. They're weeks behind on rent, the landlord's coming for eviction." I leaned back, a small smile creeping up. "How far behind?" I asked. "3 months," she replied. They tried to pretend it was no big deal, but everyone could see they were drowning. It was poetic justice. The house fought so hard to take in the divorce, she couldn't keep up payments. The bills piled up. Jason. He got laid off from his job, a fact he'd hidden from everyone, still pretending to have it all under control. She'd traded stability for a man who was all show, no substance. Her perfect new life was already unraveling. One evening, as I sat at home scrolling through emails, a text popped up from, "I really need to talk, it's important." I stared at it for a moment. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. I responded, "Is everything okay?" Her reply was almost immediate. "Not really. Jason and I are going through a tough patch, just wondering if you could help, maybe a small loan." I chuckled, amused. The woman who left me humiliated flaunted her new relationship and now asked for help. "Yeah, right. I'm sorry to hear that," I replied, "but I can't help." Simple as that. Her response, silence. I knew she was frustrated. Then she sent another message. "Just this once, you don't have to make a big deal out of it." I let it go. No more words needed. And Jason had made their choices. Now they'd have to live with the consequences. A week later, I found out they'd been evicted. The landlord had tired of their excuses and gave them a firm deadline. In the end, they moved into a tiny, rundown apartment on the outskirts of town. A friend told me, "You should see it, a far cry from the life they once pretended to have. It's barely holding it together, and Jason's aged 10 years." I didn't gloat, I didn't need to. Their downfall was a direct result of their own actions, had sacrificed a safe, stable life for a fantasy, and Jason, well, he reaped what he'd sown. The most striking moment, running into at a grocery store. Her cart was filled with budget brands. She looked up, saw me, and froze. She stammered, voice trembling. I kept my tone neutral. She opened her mouth, trying to say something, but no words came. She looked defeated. The once smug woman who demanded a divorce and flaunted her affair was gone. "I hope you're doing well," I said softly. Then she nodded quickly, eyes darting away. "You too," she mumbled and hurried down an aisle. Watching her walk away, I felt a strange mixed satisfaction, yes, but also a twinge of pity. She made her choices, and they'd led her here. She was trapped in the life she'd fought so hard to create. I didn't need to do a thing. Life had already taken its course. Soon enough, it all came to a head. I knew it was inevitable. When people like Jason lose control of their illusion of success, they lash out, desperate to blame someone or find a way out. One morning, just after a client call, my phone lit up. A number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. I answered calmly. Her voice was tense, fragile. "We need to talk." I leaned back, all patience. "What's this about?" I asked. There was a pause. She hesitated, trying to find the right words. "About everything, about Jason, about us." I raised an eyebrow, though she couldn't see it. "Us? There's no us anymore. That ended the day you handed me divorce papers." Her voice dipped lower. "We're struggling. Things haven't been easy since everything happened. I was wondering if you could help. Just a small loan to get us back on our feet." I couldn't help but laugh softly. "You left me because you thought I wasn't good enough, that I didn't work hard enough or make enough money, and now you're asking me to fix your mess." Her tone sharpened. "You don't understand. Jason and I just hit a rough patch, a rough patch." I cut her off. "You chose Jason, thinking he was better than me. Now you want me to clean up after you. Not a chance." She started protesting, but I didn't listen. "You wanted to be free," I said coldly. "Free of me, free of my lack of ambition, so enjoy that freedom. I'm not your safety net." I hung up. Later that week, she showed up at my office unannounced, exhausted, disheveled, the polished woman I once knew replaced by someone desperate. She said, stepping inside. I looked up, arms crossed. "You've got 2 minutes, make it count." She launched into a spiel about how hard things had been, how unfair life was. I interrupted her. "You made your choice. You left me for Jason. How's that working out?" Her face flushed with a mix of shame and anger. "I know I hurt you, but you don't have to be so cruel. I thought you were better than this." I chuckled. "You thought I was a failure. You thought I wasn't good enough. Now here you are begging me for help because your perfect life isn't so perfect." At that moment, Jason walked in. He looked worse than ever, disheveled, stressed, clearly out of his depth. He said, trying to sound casual but nervous, "Can we talk, man?" I stood, walking over him. "Man to man," I echoed bitterly. "You mean the same way you talked to me behind my back while sleeping with my wife?" He winced but pressed on. "Look, yeah, we made mistakes, and I are in a tough spot. We thought maybe you'd help us just a little, nothing big." I shook my head and laughed. "Unbelievable. You betrayed me, lied to me, and now you want me to bail you out." His face reddened, his fists clenched. "You don't have to be a jerk about it," he muttered. Stepped closer, voice low but steady. "I don't owe you anything, Jason. You made your bed, now lie in it." His voice pleading, "Please, we're desperate." I turned to her, cold. "Your desperation doesn't erase your betrayal. You chose Jason over me, thinking he was better. Now live with it." I headed for the door, opened it, and signaled for them to leave. They stood there stunned, then shuffled out, heads bowed. The door closed behind them and I finally felt a sense of closure. They thought they could manipulate me, guilt me into helping, but I was done being that guy. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about standing tall, knowing what I was worth, refusing to be dragged down by those who betrayed me. As I sat back at my desk, a quiet smile crept over my face. They believed they'd broken me, but I'd only set myself free. There's a certain beauty in betrayal. It often turns on itself. And Jason thought they could escape the mess they'd made by sticking together, but cracks in their relationship grew into huge fractures. It was almost poetic watching them unravel, weighed down by their own choices. The first sign, a mutual friend name called one afternoon, her voice dripping with gossip. "You won't believe this," she started. "What now?" I asked, already amused. "Apparently Jason's been seeing someone else." I burst out laughing. "Someone else? You're joking, right?" "Dead serious," she said. "Caught him texting a new woman, some young thing from his new job." I tasted the irony. The man who betrayed me was now betraying her right under her nose. Karma. No, it ran them over. The fallout was quick. Always so confident she confronted Jason in a public place screaming, and he tried to brush it off. But she lost it, threw her coffee in a fit of rage. The woman Jason was texting, it wasn't just a fling. She was someone from his new job, young, carefree, and uninterested in settling down. Jason, true to form, convinced himself she was worth risking his entire life over. She didn't take it lightly. Demanded answers, accused him of everything. But Jason, as usual, doubled down, blaming her, saying she was too demanding. Their arguments grew loud enough to be heard through the walls of their rented apartment. Eventually, Jason moved out, was left scrambling, no job, no savings, no place to go. I'd get a call, her voice shaky with anger and regret. "You were right. Jason's a liar, a cheat. I trusted him, and look where I am." I leaned back, listening, letting her rant. I could have offered sympathy, but preferred watching her fall further. I said gently, "You chose Jason, believing he was better. How's that working out?" She paused, breathing hard, then finally whispered, "I don't need your lectures, I need help." "No, verify."